Today I want to talk about anxiety, specifically how to stop letting it control your life. I'm going to walk you through the 7 strategies of what I call the anxiety shift, which is a framework that I use to manage anxiety instead of fight against it. By the end of the video, you are going to know what to do when anxiety shows up and even understand how to use some of that nervous energy to your advantage. By the way, my name is Rachel. I am the author of this book right here, Happiness is Just a Mood, where I talk all about my own experience with anxiety and depression. I've spent years and thousands of dollars on therapy and researching and studying and reading and learning everything I possibly could about anxiety to better manage my own and now to help other people do the same. So with that, let's start with strategy number 1. Regulating your body doesn't mean you need to make your anxiety disappear completely. It's just changing the way you respond to that alarm system going off. And the moment I learned this is the moment I started to feel so much better, because I wasn't fighting my body. I was actually just recognizing what was happening and responding to it differently. And instead of thinking, I need to make this stop, I started asking, what does my body need from me right now? Is it movement? Is it slower breathing? Is it muscle? My muscles need to be relaxed? Like, what is it? And the goal isn't to fight the alarm. It's to learn how to respond to it, like I said. And the more you practice this, the more you will start to feel less scared of those feelings and those sensations that come up when you are anxious. The goal isn't to fight the alarm. It's to learn how to respond to it, like I said. And the more you practice this, the more you will start to feel less scared of those feelings and those sensations that come up when you are anxious. Strategy number 1 is regulate your body. I made this mistake for years, and I see a lot of people do the same thing, is we try to think our way out of anxiety, and it never works. So what's actually happening is when anxiety starts, it's because our brain is perceiving something as a threat. And a perceived threat is simply our brain thinks something is dangerous even though it's not. But when our brain feels like there is a threat, it sends a signal to our body, it sets off an alarm system in our body that we need to get ready to either fight, flight, or freeze. That's why your heart starts racing, your muscles tense, your breathing changes, and you start to get this nervous energy. And there's a reason your body does this. It's actually trying to protect you. And it's basically saying something's about to happen and we need to get ready. The problem is this alarm system gets set off when we're not really in danger. And I like to think of it as an alarm system, a smoke alarm in your house. Obviously, it's there to protect you from a fire. But sometimes maybe you're cooking breakfast and you burn some toast. Obviously, you're not in danger. There's no fire. You're safe. But the alarm, the smoke alarm, doesn't know that. So it still goes off. And so anxiety works the same. Even though you're not in danger, your brain, your body doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's perceived as a threat. So you start to get those same sensations. So what I started to learn and has helped me so much is doing things to help my body get through the alarm instead of fighting against it. And what I mean by this is slow your breathing. You don't have to take huge deep breaths. Just take gentle breaths. And when you exhale slower and longer. Relax your muscles. When we're anxious, for me especially, my shoulders tense up and they're up by my ears. Some people clench their jaws. Some people, their hands are gripped really tightly. And once you become consciously aware of that and you can actually relax your muscles, then you're signaling to your brain that you're okay and that you are not in danger. Another one is movement. As I mentioned, some physical reactions that we feel when we're anxious is like nervous energy, and if we don't give that energy somewhere to go, it just pents up, and it's very uncomfortable at times. So if you just take a short walk, stretch, if you can, go for a run, do whatever you want to do that will help you give that nervous energy somewhere to go. Strategy number 2 is check the facts. When we're anxious, our brains make a lot of guesses about what might happen. And when we have all these thoughts, they start to feel like facts. And something that I struggled with were social events. And whenever I would have a social event coming up, the thoughts that would go through my head were always, I'm going to be awkward. No one's going to talk to me. Everyone's going to judge me. I don't know anyone there. And when I'm in the middle of anxiousness, it's really hard to separate these thoughts from actual facts. So what I learned in therapy was to stop. Whenever I become aware that I'm having these thoughts, I would stop and think, what do I know that's actually true? So maybe this is something that I've written down myself, is I've been anxious before an event before, but I went and I actually had a great time. Or maybe there will be other people who are anxious too, because anxiety is very, very common, and I can guarantee you, if you are going to any event, there are people there who are dealing with it as well. Or maybe, someone invited you to the event, so somebody genuinely wants you there. But the point is that you don't know what's going to happen, and anxiety has this really funny way of trying to make it seem like our brains do know what's going to happen, because it starts to tell us, well, maybe you've struggled before on an event, like that might happen again, and all this stuff. And it gets really, really difficult to separate what anxiety is predicting and what's actually true. So that's why I include this strategy, because asking myself, what are the facts, has really helped me separate my anxiety from actual evidence that I am able to do something. So the next time you start to catch yourself having all these negative thoughts, the worst case scenario, just remember to ask yourself, what is the evidence? What's true? What are the facts? And what is anxiety trying to trick me into believing? Strategy number 3 is start approaching. And what I mean by this is, if you want to manage your anxiety, you have to learn how to do the things that you typically avoid doing because of your anxiety. And it's probably the hardest strategy in this framework, and it was definitely the hardest for me, but there's no other way around managing your anxiety, because the more you avoid, and trust me, avoiding feels so good in the moment. When you cancel plans or you decide you're not going to do that thing that you were supposed to do that makes you really anxious, it is like such a big relief in the moment. But in the long run, you're teaching your brain that thing that you avoided is actually dangerous. So every time that comes up, it's going to trigger the same response. Your brain's going to tell you, no, don't do it. And you just get in this cycle of avoiding places and things. And honestly, you miss out a lot on life. And that's what happened to me. I avoided so many things that I actually missed out on big moments in people's lives. And I'm not proud of that. That doesn't feel good, but I just kept avoiding. And so when I finally started doing exposure therapy, which I'll do a whole video on, it really helped me retrain my brain into learning that I wasn't in danger by doing certain things. So for me, anything with big crowds was really anxiety provoking. Concerts, sporting events, even movies, going to restaurants was hard for me, things like that. And now, because I've exposed myself to it so much, there are very few moments that I even think twice about the events anymore. So if I'm going out for dinner, I actually don't think twice about it. I'm like, yeah, let's go out for dinner. Let's hit up this restaurant. I do still get anxious when I have to go to an event like a stadium event of some sort, but it's gotten much better because I've learned how to manage my anxiety, and I've done it enough times that I'm able to tell myself that I've done it before, I'll be okay, and I have the tools to get through it. And that's the biggest thing. So if anything, just take small steps. You don't need to dive right in and do the thing that gives you crippling anxiety. It's just about taking small steps and doing that enough times that you feel more confident and comfortable, and you start to teach your brain that those situations aren't actually dangerous and they're not a threat to you. Strategy number 4 is give your anxiety a job to do. And this is actually what helped me change my relationship with anxiety a lot, because I realized that sometimes anxiety was actually giving me some useful information. So let's say I'm nervous for a presentation, and a lot of people experience this. Public speaking, it's very common for people to get anxiety around public speaking. So my anxiety will say, what if I forget what I'm going to say? And from there, I have 2 choices. The first one is to spend hours worrying, figuring out how to stop feeling so anxious, or thinking about not doing the presentation. Or I can use that thought as a cue to practice. So, like I said, what if I forget what I'm going to say? Well, maybe if I practice a few times, I can become much more comfortable with the content and know my speaking notes inside and out. Another example is traveling. A lot of people get anxiety when they're traveling, and they start to think about, oh my God, what if something goes wrong? And they start to think about all these worst case scenarios. But instead of spending 3 days thinking of any disaster that can possibly happen on your trip, ask yourself, is there anything that I can do to prepare? So maybe it's checking your documents, knowing how you're getting to the airport, downloading anything you need, and then stop. The question I've learned to ask myself is my anxiety leading me to preparation, or is it trying to get me to avoid? So obviously those are 2 very different things. Preparation says, yes, I'm anxious, but I'm going to practice. Avoidance says, I'm anxious, so maybe I shouldn't do it. So preparation helps you move forward, while avoidance keeps you stuck. And like I said in the last strategy, once you get into that cycle, you teach your brain that those situations are dangerous and you shouldn't do them. So when anxiety shows up, don't automatically ask, how do I make this feeling go away? Ask, is there anything useful I can do with this information? So give your anxiety a productive job. Strategy 5 is turn nervous energy into performance energy. Whenever we are nervous before something that's important, you might notice you start to feel butterflies, your heart rate starts going nuts, and you feel almost like a burst of energy. And our first reaction to this is typically, oh my God, I need to calm down. But you don't always need to get rid of that energy. sometimes you can actually use it. And this goes with the last strategy, but instead of telling yourself, I'm too nervous to do this, try, my body is giving me energy so that I'm able to do this thing that is so important to me. And then use that energy, give it some place to go. I mentioned this in the first strategy when I was talking about regulating your body, is that you have this energy pent up, like use it to your advantage. So maybe you put it into your focus, your voice if you're presenting, or your gestures, your preparation, or just the task in front of you. The goal isn't to go from nervous to completely calm. You're always going to have anxiety, especially when you're about to do something that's important to you. But if you learn how to take that nervous energy and use it to help you perform, I can guarantee that you will actually perform better, and you will, again, just change your relationship with those feelings of anxiety. Strategy number 6 is close the mental tabs. And what I mean by this is anxiety is sometimes quiet in a way that you're just replaying every conversation in your head. You're wondering if someone's upset with you. You're thinking about a million things that you have to do tomorrow, or you're thinking about maybe you made a mistake or you're going to make a mistake. So much of our time is thinking about and preparing for problems that haven't even happened yet. And although none of those thoughts on their own are a big deal, when you're spending all day thinking about all those different thoughts, it is so draining. And I like to think of it as like a computer browser. If you go to your browser and you open one tab, not a big deal. You open another, and then another, and then another, and before you know it, you have 50 tabs open. And then your computer starts to slow down. Your computer slowed down not because any one of those tabs is open, it's because they're all open trying to run at the same time, and it's draining the computer's energy. It's trying to keep up, but it can't. And that's what our brains do when we have a million thoughts going through our head, a million worries that we just can't even take care of at the moment. It drains our mental battery. And so for this strategy, I've actually come up with what I call the 5-minute mental reset. And it's super easy. All you have to do is take a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle to have one column titled tomorrow and another column titled not today. And for tomorrow, just write down the stuff that you actually need to do tomorrow. Maybe it's go get groceries. Maybe it's you have meetings at work. You have a dinner with someone, but things that you actually need to complete tomorrow. And then on the other side where it says not today, do a brain dump of all the worries in your head that you don't need to even take care of or action on this moment. So maybe it's, what if I can't handle the project? What if tomorrow goes badly? What if something goes wrong? Things that you're not going to have the answers to. Because by doing this, you're acknowledging them just to get them out of your head. So you're telling your brain, I don't have to solve this right now. And if it needs my attention tomorrow, I'll deal with it tomorrow. So when you think back to those browser tabs, you're not permanently deleting everything. You're just deciding which tabs actually need to stay open right now. And once you start doing all of these things, you start to regain that mental battery and stop draining it all day long without even realizing it. And once you start doing all these things, there is one final strategy that helps everything else compound. And I saved it for last because it is the thing that ties it all together. And strategy 7 is build evidence. by doing all the previous strategies, you are proving to yourself that you can show up, that you can do things that make you uncomfortable even when you are anxious, because I know you can. I've seen people do it. I've done it myself. I've had crippling anxiety, and it controlled my life. It almost ruined my life. But I was able to manage it and prove to myself and build the evidence that I am in control. And I believe that every single person has the ability to build the skills to control their anxiety instead of letting it control them. And that's what all of this is about. It's all about building the evidence so that you can prove to yourself that no matter how anxious you are, you can still show up. And you deserve that. You deserve to be able to do the things you want to do. Maybe it's travel, maybe it's to go for a promotion or go on dates or do whatever you want to do. You deserve to do that without anxiety controlling you. And I know how hard that is. And I know anxiety and the thoughts that go through your head, how they can trick you into thinking that you can't do it. But if you practice all the other strategies that I've listed here, I can guarantee you will take control over your own life. And whether that looks like more time spent with your loved ones, making more money because you're going for those opportunities and those promotions, whatever it is, I know that you will get there if you follow these strategies. So with that, I just want to say thank you for watching this video. It means a lot to me. If this was helpful, please subscribe. It would mean the world to me, and I will be posting every week just helpful strategies when it comes to anxiety, because like I said, I think everyone deserves to live the life that they want to live. And it is my mission, my life mission, to help others on their journey through managing anxiety. And so please like, subscribe, and if you're looking for some free resources, I will put the link in the description below for some tools and resources that can help with your anxiety. But thank you, and I will see you in the next one.